update. I want to get you in touch with the very, very latest. Won't be a very long one. I'm just going to jump on here and kind of get you up to date on some great stuff that's going on right now. I'm really excited about what is happening down the Baja Coast because the full day boats now are not only connecting for the second day in a row with bluefin tuna, but they're starting to catch yellows on the kelp, some nice yellowtail, and also just a little trickle of Dorado starting to walk in here. So that is all great news. If you have any questions at all, you can throw them in the chat right now, and I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Grande, 24 guys today, 7 bluefin tuna, 106 yellowtail. It doesn't get any better than that. And 3 flatheads, 3 Dorado to go along with that. That is some pretty darn good stuff. I'm happy to see those flatheads starting to make their way in. And remember now, as we move into summer and then we start to push into the fall, our water's going to get warmer and you're going to get that influx of more and more of those species starting to move up the line. This is all really good stuff. The San Diego today. What a hit for the San Diego. 28 bluefin tuna and 65 yellowtail. It appears that we are on to something new. Now, these are full day boats. So if you're new to San Diego or you're not quite sure what a full day boat is, it's a boat that leaves in the morning and then comes back that very same evening. Sometimes they come back at 6 in the evening, and sometimes they get way down there and they'll come back past 9 p.m. in the evening. Depends on how far they have to go for the fish. But really good signal. Now remember, previous to this, we've been seeing most of these kelp-hattie yellowtail down at about 100 miles, 90, 100 miles down below. So really looking excellent right now as it starts to move in. Sheba Cat, thank you so much for being here. It's my pleasure to bring you the very latest. And we'll be doing a lot more of this. I've been getting a lot of requests to do an evening report so that I can get you up to date in case you happen to have a trip in the morning or you have a trip tonight. So I will be doing that. Now, the Coronado Islands again today, showing significant life. Really great fishing on the Coronado Islands today. Marcus Fain, really great guy. He was on board there. I believe he said he had 10 fish for 13 hookups. He said that 25-pound fluorocarbon worked really, really well in this bite. There was some small fish, and then there was some big home guard, 20, 25-pound yellows running around also. And Marcus said the best way to get one of those bigger fish was for sure to use the iron. Throw the iron, like a surface iron, works really, really well. And you do not want to do that with anything less than 40 pound. You want to be throwing 40 pound at those fish when you're fishing the iron. And I prefer 50 to be perfectly honest with you. You know, if you have to stop them from running back into the kelp or keep them out of a rock or something like that, it's always nice to have a little insurance and have some of that heavy line. So those breaking news stories right now. I just talked to Brian Pfeiffer, by the way, on board the Independence. He is heading down on an 8-day trip, so he won't be there tomorrow. He'll be there the next day. So Saturday, he'll start fishing down below where there's been great wahoo fishing, great yellowfin tuna fishing, lots of yellowtail. They've caught all kinds of other stuff like grouper. In fact, on their way home on their last trip, in case you missed it, they went into the Baja Coast, and in there they were catching these giant calico bass, beautiful big calicos, a lot of those on the surface iron. Such a fun way to catch calico bass. And then in addition to that, we also saw them get into an exceptional white sea bass trip. Love the Independence, love Brian, he does a great job. And Roy Rose is there now also. That is some great stuff. Isaac, good to have you with us, my friend. Isaac, aka the Sack, was recently on board the Voyager. He had his son Ethan out there, and of course Dan Lightfoot. Dan, happy birthday. He was out there with Michael Limon, and they put the wood to those kelp-hattie yellowtail. Incidentally, it is worth mentioning to you all that those kelp-hattie yellowtail are really tough fish. I mean, if you ask Dan Lightfoot, and maybe it's just because he's an old man. Just kidding, Dan. If you ask him, he'll tell you, man, I couldn't stop these things. Dan was fishing 40 pound, and he could not stop his first 8 hookups. He said every single one of those 8 fish ran him back into the kelp. So it was pretty darn impressive, the strength of those yellows, just how strong there. And for kelp patty yellowtail, a lot of times in a lot of years when you start fishing kelp patty yellows, you're going to find a lot of rats, what we call rats, small fish, 3-pounders, 5-pounders, stuff like that. So I'll tell you right now, these are anything but that. These are like 12 to 25-pound yellowtail. Nice grade, 12 to 20 for sure. Christopher Navarro is a great Friedman Adventures family member. He says, great update. Thanks, Phil. My pleasure, Chris. Good to have you here with us. Always good to see you. Hi from Hawaii. And that is, man, I'm going to butcher your name. I'm trying to look. Kanoa Lorenzo. Man, thank you so much from Hawaii. I hope you're doing well there. I hope the fishing's great in Hawaii also. It's so nice of you to check in. It's so nice of you all to be here. Hey, if you don't mind, hit that like button. We're going to continue on a little bit. I know a lot of you are watching the RNC thing tonight, so I don't want to bump into that. I don't want to take away from the ratings from the RNC with all of our viewers. So I'm telling you, we are seeing some incredible stuff going on here. As we move into the fall, let me just preface it by saying this. We've been slow to get rolling this year in many ways. I mean, that bluefin tuna bite was slow to get going. Once it clicked, like right now we're into some really excellent fishing. That is not to say we're not going to have some down fishing from time to time, like we have going on with that night bite up there at San Clemente Island right now. That has been a lot more difficult, but we're rolling along really, really well right now. It's been slow to start, but as we push deeper into summer and then we get ourselves into the fall, that's when we're going to have our best weather months. That's when we're going to have some really great fall weather. And I'm telling you, that's when you see the variety. That's when you roll up on a kelp, you'll find yellowfin tuna, dorado, bluefin tuna. You'll find Spanish jacks. You'll find yellowtail. It's incredible. And you're going to see that this year. I can feel it coming. How about Wesley Larkin? Saying hello from a place that I absolutely love. Wesley, so good to see you from the great country of Taiwan. It is so beautiful for you to say hi. I spent quite a bit of time in Taiwan, Wesley. My brother lives there, and it's a beautiful country filled with really great food and really beautiful people. So, Wesley, thank you so much. We've got people checking in from Hawaii. We got people checking in from Taiwan. It's really, really good stuff. And I actually can't wait to get back to Taiwan. In fact, Wesley, you know better than I know what a celebration they have when they catch their first bluefin tuna of the year in Taiwan. It's really fun to take part in that. I was fortunate enough to do that one year. Lots of fun and lots of great stuff. Thanks for checking in Taiwan. What time is it there, by the way? I'd have to think about that after I lived for 3 years in China. So, well, you're going to tell me here in a second. So really great stuff going on. We're moving in the right direction with regard to these yellowtail on the kelp, starting to move up. That grande score, very impressive with over 100 yellowtail. That is fantastic. And then also we look, they have that variety. They have some bluefin tuna. They have some other stuff mixed in with it. So that is really good stuff. Tony Gonzalez says, hey, Phil, what's going on with Tackle Shop Confessions? Where's Captain Tommy, a.k.a. Sheephead Caller? He's not running the Freedom. Tackle Shop Confessions. Let's see. 2 weeks ago, what was the thing? I think I had something going on. And then this last week, Sam De La Torre was on a camping trip with his family. We'll be back on Monday with another edition of Tackle Shop Confessions. And you're talking about Tino Valentine, who ran the Freedom. He is no longer running the Freedom, so he's, I don't know if he's retired or just kind of taking a little time off. Not really sure about that, but Tino's a funny guy. The sheephead call is something that I will never, ever forget. It's really something special. I should put that up in case some of you out there have never seen it. And hopefully Tino will be back. He's supposed to run the Amigo, I think, part-time, but I haven't seen him there. And I was down at 22nd Street Landing for the Danny Kadota Show today. That was a lot of fun, by the way. And Danny was saying, hey, what's going on with the Amigo, man? Here's Mark Paisano. Let's find out what's going on. So we talked to Mark Paisano Jr. He said they've been catching those big yellows in the early morning hours at San Clemente Island, fishing dropper loop rigs. It's been great, fishing 50-pound with a big hook. I like a 5.0, 7.0 size hook. Trocar hooks aren't numero uno. They are so sharp and strong. Eagle Claw makes them. don't trust your catch to anything but a car hook when you're fishing the really big stuff, whether it's that big bluefin tuna or those yellows over there at Clemente on the dropper loop, car hooks. That's something we highly recommend you give a try to. So that's really, really excellent what's going on there at San Clemente Island. Now, Channel Islands, was there an explosion on white sea bass today? I'm looking into that right now. If anybody knows anything, let me know if you're on a boat where you had it. That weather came down. We've been seeing copious amounts. I know the Aloha Spirit, I think, had one fish today, something like that. But they just keep seeing it. And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about this late season, how it's just late to develop. And that has been something we've been looking at. So I surmise from that, and who knows, I might be right and I might be wrong. But I surmise from that we're just a little bit behind on everything. And we're still going to get that explosion of white sea bass up there in the Channel Islands. We've seen sea bass at Catalina Island also. There's been occasional decent hits on that stuff. So fingers crossed that that's going to come together also. Tony Gonzalez says, yeah, he was great running the Freedom. Captain Tino Valentine is who I think you're talking about. And yeah, he's a hilarious guy. And one thing about Tino Valentine, after all the years I've known that guy, I had no idea how good his Spanish was. I forget, I think I said something to him in Spanish, just kidding around, and boom, right back at me with perfect Spanish. He spent some time living in Mexico and has a real love for Mexican culture and the people, as do I. So really, really, really good stuff. Yeah, Tino Valentine, great guy, no question about it. All right, so the reason for this special update is to say hi to all of you and thank you all for the likes and sharing the videos and all the great, great, great support you give us. Remind you all that I'll be up bright and early with the morning briefing. And also, guess what? The Orange County Fair starts tomorrow. So I'll be out there pouring drinks at Baja Blues. If you get a chance, come on by Baja Blues and say hello. Let's see. Catalina, good question. What is going on at Catalina Island? Good calico bass fishing going on there. It's been darn good here recently. There's been a little bit of yellowtail also in there. We see a little bit of yellow starting to show up there. Occasional white sea bass, occasional halibut, and plenty of rockfish. And the mighty blue perch is making a comeback at Catalina Island. That's right. The crapper snappers are back. So I don't know if that's good news or bad news. It's actually really good news. Those things are fun to catch. And cat, very steady. The El Patron runs out of Long Beach Sport Fishing, www.longbeachsportfishing.org. And you can head over there and do really, really well. Really great fishing on board the El Patron 540 Slinger. Love the yellowtail action at San Clemente Island lately. Gosh darn it. Jeff Yeomans from the 540 Slingers Club. Jeff, you are so right on about that. It's like going to Guadalupe Island and dropper loop fishing there. It is so much fun. You get to use the heavy line. You're catching fish that sometimes exceed 40 pounds, if you can believe that. Those are really monster yellowtail, huge yellowtail. And those fish have been biting really well over there. Those yellows at Clemente in that early morning bite, I think Jeff would confirm this and tell you this. You get flashed sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's kind of over, I would say, by 7 a.m., sometimes even earlier than that. But you might only get flashed at one time. So you definitely have to be Johnny on the spot. And that requires getting up when they're dropping the anchor. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you got to get up and have a cup of coffee. And I'm telling you, you got to have a bait in the water to get a bite. Because once you get flashed, if it's the only time you do, you're going to want to get one of those 20, 25, 30, 40-pound yellowtail. The Amigos had great trips. The Thunderbird, the Fury. There's a lot of boats who've been fishing over there. And right there at Clemente, the Thunderbird was throwing bait, and the island was a stone's throw away, and they had bluefin erupting everywhere. The daytime kite bite over there on bluefin tuna, big ones, 100, 150, bigger than that, for private boaters, as well as the Royal Polaris the last couple of days, and several other long-range boats, but private boaters who know how to kite fish, they have been having outstanding fishing. Yeah, Jeff, you're right. Clemente looking so very good. Chris Navarro went on a reverse overnight trip yesterday. We went 1 for 1 on the bluefin. They were there, just not biting. Well, I'll get them next time. That's for sure. Sounds like you were on the El Dorado because I had an in-depth conversation with Will Hogue about that, who was on board there running the boat along with TJ. And that sounds like the exact same dope he gave me, Chris. So that's where I'm surmising you were. 540 Slinger, Jeff Yeomans. Yeah, Phil, we got our first yellow at 4 a.m. on our trip on board the Amigo. The bite was over by 8 a.m. So there you have it. Jeff was just out there and confirms what I am saying. And man, that sounds absolutely fantastic. That is a really special bite. Now, Channel Islands, I'll give you a little update there. That explosion of white sea bass, it occurs from time to time. It has been happening on the Endeavor a lot. The Endeavor has really been putting the wood to those fish and doing really, really well. We've seen outstanding fishing there. That's dropper loop fishing. You know, Tucker McCombs, I had an in-depth conversation with him, and he said, Phil, when we're catching white sea bass, halibut up here, we're catching them on the dropper loop. Pretty much. Now, yeah, you get them on those twin tail flukes and everything else, but when you have live squid, the way you're going to fish it is probably with an 8-ounce torpedo, but you may go heavier depending on wind and current. Another big hook will work really well for you. And man, hang on, it's good. Island Spirit, great rock fishing. You know, we love fishing on the Island Spirit. They've been catching some bass and barracuda. It's been really outstanding fishing. So again, really outstanding up there in the Channel Islands, looking good. Gentlemen had limits of calico bass, so if you want to fish bass, you can get that. And on the beach up there, we're starting to see more and more of the sand bass play into the picture, along with some barracuda also. So really good stuff. Jeff, thanks again. Tony Gonzalez. Tony, it's great to see you back again. Phil, thank you for taking the time to do these for us, keeping us up to date. Thank you so much, Tony, for being here, man. That means a lot to me, and your kind words are deeply, deeply appreciated on a day when my wife, after 30 years, became a United States citizen. Don't make me cry. I really, you know, I'm very proud of her, and she's already running around this place saying mi país, my country, my country. She is so proud to be an American, and it's a very special day. All right, 540 Slingers. Don't be afraid to fish 60-pound dropper loop for those yellows at SCI. Sage advice, 100%. I couldn't agree with you more than that. Israel de la Cruz, another great guy who's helped us raise money for our Mexico efforts. And Israel says, Phil, I'm on a day-and-a-half trip tomorrow on the Oceanside 95. Looking forward to a great trip. Wishing you a great trip, Israel. Go get them and make sure you give me some decent video, man, or some good photos, because I would love to feature you on Friedman Adventures. Good luck, Israel. Hope you have a great trip. Isaac, congratulations to you and Ruth. Tony Gonzalez says congrats. Yeah, thank you so much, you guys. Ruth's been through it all with me, thick and thin. When my dad got sick, he required that we take care of him, Ruth and my kids and I. We moved him into our house so we could watch him. He was a diabetic, had all kinds of other stuff going on. But Ruth was 24/7 with my dad. I was too. In fact, I was starting to get a little jealous because those two, Ruth and my dad, ran off to Denny's every morning while I was doing fishing updates. And they had a really special relationship. My dad's Spanish was not that great, but somehow, some way, the two of them managed to communicate, and they forged a love between the two of them that was really, really beautiful. As Ruth said, Don Alberto. My dad's name was Albert, and she used to call him Don Alberto all the time. It was a beautiful thing. Good stuff. All right. Thank you very much, Jeff. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Chris. Everybody saying thank you for Ruth and her citizenship. Good stuff. All right, you guys, I just want to check in and tell you I love you and wish you a great night and hope you're doing well. Love what's going on down towards San Diego. Remember, all that stuff's going to flush up here into Southern California also. You know, I had reports unconfirmed of yellows on kelps off Dana a week ago, but I couldn't get them confirmed. I had a photo. A guy sent me a photo. I asked him some details, and he didn't have all these great answers. So I just wasn't totally convinced, and I want to be convinced before I say anything to you. And I still blow it once in a while, but I'm trying to jump through all these hoops to make sure we've got the story right. But again, it looks like this is the real deal. Dorado's starting to move in just a little bit so far, and bluefin and some really nice yellowtail fishing for the full day boats out of San Diego. And as I say, this is just the beginning of a progression that will move up. Have a great evening. Take great care of yourselves. Thanks for checking in here for this special edition live update. We'll be doing lots more of these as the days go on. And I'll see you tomorrow morning for the morning briefing. Hit the like button, share with a friend, and subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. Hey, no, let's see. Love you, Phil. I love you too. I truly, truly do. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow morning on the morning briefing.